At the end of the day, I trust that the staff is doing the best they can, especially going through the lean process. We ask a lot of them, we ask a lot of revisions of them, and I would like to know, actually, given all the different feedback that you've gotten,
I think this is it.
yeah, then I am happy moving on. I don't think that any of us are engineers or that we need to design the whole landscape here. We don't have a big budget to do that, and so I just ask that we continue to go forward knowing that our staff are the experts, are hiring other people, engineers and whatnot to design this, and we have limited funds and we have to get this stuff done in the best way possible, and they're the
I'm
professionals.
comfortable moving on.
I am as well.
Do we want to have I think several of us have expressed that we might want to look at some other options. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable not, an 8-year gap between doing Stratford Court and then the next leg. I'm real uncomfortable. I mean, these folks have been sitting there for a long time, and they've funded all the other work throughout the village I think we need to move forward, and we've done a lot of patching on Capitol since it's even been built. Sections like the Oakland Capitol intersection, when we have to redo that. There's been times with utility work on
Yeah, it's
Capitol.
been utility work.
I mean, so.
Even Wilson was concrete, wasn't
I
it?
think that Oakland, like right around Oakland and Capitol, is particularly bad. I mean, I think that
Right.
they're anyway. I don't know. It seems like that at least 5 of us are. Do you need more specific direction?
Actually, I would appreciate that. I mean, I hear that you're, and I totally understand, but I guess, yes, we do need some direction. So what is it that you want to see? Do you simply wanna move Oakland to the end of the schedule?
There are options. So I think that's what we just all said, is that if you hear what we are hoping for, which is moving sewer work up a little bit, not having that gap that Public Works Chair was talking about, what would that mean? Does it mean we need more staff? Does it mean that Oakland would go to, what options do we have for that? I can't construct them, as Trustee Bachor said, because we don't have all the.
I mean, we can kind of circle back and take a look at it. The one thing, I would say is that these were designed with that sort of logistic tag in mind. If you have Maryland and you have Stratford and you have Prospect and you have all those areas under sewer construction in the summer, like if we try to do more in one period, where is someone in the middle of Stratford Court between Maryland and Prospect going to park when they can't get to their house? Because 2 blocks on every side of them is under construction. I mean, that,
And it couldn't be the next year, or the following year.
I mean, that's a
off year, I
real
guess.
issue for us. I don't,
Where are they
Okay,
gonna-
you
where are
want
they
some
gonna
options?
park?
Maybe an off year?
But where are they gonna park now?
well,
Because there's just that block of Menlo,
right,
and then Newton is gonna be all, so, I mean, and it looks like there's an alley there. So where, they should be, are they unable to access the alley? I mean, I don't know, I mean, now we're getting into real, like,
Right.
nitty-gritty
Right.
details.
But
But I-
maybe it's in an off year. An option could be, like you said though, there's not enough staff, we have other things to do, but if we could move some of the sewer things like that extension to an off year to get it done faster, what would that take? Just that segment that everyone seems to be kind of concerned about.
well, we're concerned about that segment, but I don't know that that is a segment to be concerned about. If the engineer who put this together believed that that was a critical segment, that would have been in the first year.
Right.
So, I mean, that is something we have to kind of circle back and
Well,
take a look
I mean,
at.
I think
Just perception.
I think the option, I'm, unless you tell me there's no point about talking about additional staffing and trying to do 2 projects at once, then, that's something I'd be interested in, looking at additional village staffing to enable us to move faster. But, the second one, then I think we have to decide is to, defer Oakland or piecemeal Oakland a little bit, to be able to do the same sequence that the engineer laid out, but just instead of 2022 and waiting till 2030, it's 2022 and 2028, I guess, because we have to do Lake in 2026. So I'd like to look at, are there ways to piecemeal Oakland and do sewer stuff quicker? Go ahead.
I came into the discussion and listened to it, and I asked the question about delaying Prospect and that stretch of Stratford, because I too thought that doesn't seem like it makes sense. I think if the residents would see it as, unfair. But after hearing all the discussion and after asking Leanne multiple times the same questions in different ways, I really feel like this is reasonable and not only reasonable, but it's the responsible planning to take. And I appreciate all the other suggestions about trying, but I'm piecing it together with everything that I've heard here, and it doesn't seem reasonable or responsible or really in our best interests to pursue those. So I would just say, just because you weren't sure where everybody was at the table, I was just saying, I came in, I listened, I went this way, I listened again, and here I can really stand
Okay, I
behind it.
understand that I could totally get that's where you are, and I totally get that's where you are. But I think I've heard from the other 5 of us that we're not in that place.
Let's
So-
take a
Well,
straw poll.
that's what I'm not sure about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I might get to that place, but Leanne hasn't been able, because we said we'd give her time to come back with these different sewer things, I haven't gotten an answer yet. So I can't say I flipped I'm comfortable, because she's not able to answer me today. But if you came back and said, the engineer said we didn't have to do this one for 8 more years because of X, Y, Z, like it's a different sewer, that would make me feel more comfortable, but I haven't, the facts haven't changed as of yet.
Mhm.
So that's the only reason I'm hesitating.
Yeah, I'm putting it together with conversations that we've had over the past year, including this plan, so I admit that that's what I'm doing, so. But I just wanna hear from the rest of the board too, because since I've changed, I'm not saying that everybody has to change their mind, but I just wanted to be clear about what my thought process was.
I'm in the same place as President Rose. I think that I'm not saying that I'm uncomfortable with this plan. I just think there are a few questions that we've raised here today that it might behoove us to come back, answer those questions, and we very well might go with the plan as written, but I think we all had a few questions about moving up sewers, possibly moving back Oakland, kind of balancing those priorities, and I think that I'm finding the answers to those questions, and then coming back and deciding whether we're comfortable with this document.
Can we have a discussion in Public Works Committee about some of these questions and try to get a little more clarity there? I guess we would need to do it soon.
Or a budget thing.
Could I ask a question? In terms of what I heard Leanne say was that if we push Oakland back to the end of the cycle, then it will need attention. It is deteriorating at a greater pace than can stand the end of the cycle. So then you start doing the panels, which is a significant sum. So I don't know what would change about
When
that
would you
answer.
start?
I'm not trying to say that we don't need to
Panels.
talk about it again, but I really want to avoid asking the same question many times I really don't want to get into a situation where we're piecemealing things. I feel like that ends up costing too much money. So I'm just gonna say that that's my bias with that.
I guess when would be the latest? Sorry.
I think there's costs and benefits to every option. The cost of going with the way it's laid out is that there are people who are gonna have waited 2 decades for their sewer issues to be addressed. The cost of pushing the sewer up is that we may have to address the worst parts of Oakland first before getting to other parts, and that's probably more costly and less efficient. I'm just saying, there's costs and there's balancing to be done, and we have a few outstanding questions. I think once we get the answer to those questions at Public Works Committee, at least that committee can be comfortable and make a recommendation. Okay, did you have anything else, maybe we can move on?
And I just wanna echo that, I would like to just hear or get a response about a village engineer, like, would that be helpful, what would be left off the table?
Or additional staff, not
Right.
necessarily an engineer.
Either way.
I would,
Cause you spend a lot.
If I could, you know, ask Santa for my whatever, quite honestly, in my perfect world, that hire would be someone who either came off of or in a former life was a construction inspector for an engineer, because then they would understand constructability, dealing with residents, coordinating things with contractors. They would have that knowledge. If we're going to accelerate or, and or continue at the pace we're at, that skill set would be the most valuable to us.
Okay.
I agree. The engineering gets too specialized.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, it's certainly handy to have a PE on
Mhm.
staff, but
They don't work as a PE all the time.
well, right, and if you have an engineering consultant, you can say, I need someone who specializes in lighting, I need
Mhm.
someone who specializes in water, sewer, civil. You know, they have that depth of experience to draw on, so you buy 20 hours from this guy, and you buy 30 from this lady, and you get all of that without having a single body in.
But we still, our engineer, we have a contract for 90 grand just with one engineer, correct?
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
90 grand, what that is.
It's
I'm-
Clark Strand Associates.
I'm not familiar with the
Which one did we just approve for his village engineer contract?
Strand.
Strand, oh, I'm sorry, okay, thank you. And so, that's the only thing I'm thinking is if we're paying out that much money,
That money gets capitalized with the project, so it doesn't impact the operating budget.
right, I
And
get
that's,
that.
and 90,000 is not even gonna, I mean, that's probably close to
not
the
gonna do it.
salary, and then we'd have salary and benefits with it.
Well, it's alleys, what is it now, that's alleys, sidewalks, what other projects is Strand engaged in that kind of
Writing
keeps
review,
you,
yeah.
keeps the wheels
Just
turning?
there
Well,
when
it
we
sounds
have
like that's not your
questions.
need, I mean,
Right.
it sounds
No,
like your
right.
need is
Project
different,
management.
is to the coordination and, you know, a different role
Mhm.
than,
Well, I
than
guess-
that engineering, so this would be, you know, in addition, in your, you know, in that perfect world.
Yeah, I think like if you had another Joel or somebody like Joel, what's the possibility that cheaper? I mean, the limit would be, you know, could we have Oakland out of commission and, you know, large parts of the east side also out of commission at the same time? So I mean, there's that
Right,
kind
that's
of
that
limitation too.
logistics thing,
Right,
yeah.
right. But if you could think on it a little bit and let us know, then that might be good. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions on yes?
If we did, smush, as it were, would that throw off the bonding and debt stabilization formula that you were asking us to stay consider?
Well, I mean, currently this is less in total than what we had last year. So, I mean, we won't know that till Mark, we finalize those numbers and then Mark runs it all through. So, but I mean, I guess it would create more of a bump earlier on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I,
Okay, so on local roads, so the 2021, the 2.35 million is Larkin New Hall, all
Correct.
Okay,
That is scheduled for 2020.
for 2020,
Yeah.
okay. And then after that, we're talking about,
What line are you on? for
Yeah, we're-
2020?
I'm just thinking,
oh, the local road.
our,
Line
what
one.
we think of as our every other year road project is, so the next one is that Larkin New Hall area that got pushed off 2 years.
Right,
And then we're not talking, we're talking the roads related to, the roads you talked about on here.
correct.
2022.
So basically, after 2022, our local roads program gets combined with the sewer improvement.
I get it, okay.
And then it starts back up in 20, it's not on here, that's okay, but 2036 or something? Like, I think that these local sewer combined projects last all the way
Right.
through, and then you start
after
back up.
that, yeah.
Because it's a new cycle, then we just start.
Okay, so, and then we have this other map, which is just milling over.
Other lap, yeah, the other map is, so it's based on the assumption that the schedule follows for what we just talked about, right? Big assumption.
Okay,
But then what this does is this looks at, the very worst rated roads in this area and says, these would be the areas we would plan to mill and overlay, and we fast track these
okay,
for a couple of reasons. to provide relief to these homeowners until that road is scheduled for reconstruction. Because we understand that with the condition they're in, that's probably not a realistic expectation that we can wait for 10 years.
Okay.
So,
Did we just do Downer, or the Downer pit or something?
the downer, the meter vault, the meter pit is scheduled for replacement this fall.
And then.
But that's just the intersection, that's
Okay.
it.
Okay, okay, I think I got, roads. Does anyone have any questions about coordinated infrastructure or,
Can I just give you a little footnote?
yeah,
So this map,
yes.
right here,
Mhm.
if this map changes significantly,
Yes,
and the dates change significantly, I would request the ability to revisit this.
sure,
Because part of this is, I don't think anybody wants to mill and overlay a road that we expect to cut into in 4 years,
Right.
Yeah.
right? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So if this schedule changes dramatically or even minorly, we may wanna revisit this. But the goal is to provide relief in those areas.
Yeah, makes sense.
okay. Is there anything, are there more water projects on here than there were last year?
Oakland is on
Okay,
there.
got added, okay.
We increased the estimate for Lake Drive,
Okay.
because looking at that based on some of our recent bids and costs, we realized that was probably not really in the ballpark anymore from the time that we developed that estimate.
Okay,
The other thing I would say is, we did go back and, review some of the water estimates that we had attached to some of the combined sewer area programs.